Hello, everybody. It's Jason here with the Reptile Parties YouTube channel, and I'm really excited for a episode of Lyricists and Lizards. I have Canada's country golden boy, Brett Kissel, good old Alberta boy, and you know, he's messed with cows and chickens and all sorts of farm animals, and so today we're going to show him some reptiles and other sort of creepy crawly stuff. Brett, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm a Southern boy, so I don't know a huge amount of kind of what's up in like the St. Paul area. But did you have garter snakes on the farm growing up, or was it pretty much just amphibians?
We had garter snakes all the time. I loved catching garter snakes. It was great. Garter snakes and frogs. I mean, I would try to keep them for the summer, you know, as a little kid and stuff like that. And so I was big into reptiles, and I always told my mom that I wanted a crocodile when I was a kid. And she's like, yeah, that's not going to happen, just based on you live pretty much in the Arctic, and second, you're not allowed to have a crocodile. That being said, they're still wiener dogs, because I got a wiener dog's my favorite animal, but then also a crocodile. So I hope to go actually to Australia, to the Steve Irwin's big park there, and stuff like that, and you know, maybe hold one, or I don't know, ride one. I don't know what they'll let me do, but I'd love to see one.
You've never seen a crocodile in person?
No, not with my own two eyes. I've seen alligators like in Florida on the golf course and stuff like that. And so I've gone, I mean, I know it's probably against the rules, like, but I've gone up to just go check them out and see how close I can get to them and stuff. But yeah, I've held an alligator like with a reptile kind of like at a Klondike Days or Calgary Stampede. They're like a reptile show. So I've held a little alligator, but yeah, I'd love to see like a big ass crocodile.
Well, I'm going to show you something then.
Yeah. Look at his
filming.
Yeah, that's you filming?
Yep.
No way. His nose looks like it's too far through. I don't like that.
It was a little uncomfortable, yeah.
Because all he'd need to do is just thrash maybe a little bit left and right. They're so strong, right? And then his whole head can get in, and then you're toast. But where was this?
This is in Victoria Falls in Africa.
Unbelievable. So how big were those crocs?
13 feet.
It's amazing because they're real life dinosaurs. Like, wow. And why is that guy so white?
He's albino.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That's what.
Can I ask how much something like that costs?
I think it was like $100 US.
No.
I mean, there's a whole.
I thought it would have been like $800-900, maybe 1,500.
I mean, there's a whole getting to Africa part that's expensive.
Yeah, just a little flight.
Yeah. No, a lot of the experience, like, you know, the same thing with like Southeast Asia and stuff. Like the experiences you can have, they're not super expensive, or even Mexico. It's just it's getting there.
Yeah, I'm fascinated by crocodiles, and that's why I would love nothing more than when I do go to Africa to have some kind of excursion associated with that. Snakes kind of do scare me a little bit. Not the big ones, surprisingly, but it's the little poisonous ones that'll just bite you in your ankle and then you're toast. So I don't know, what kind of snake do you got there, and how many animals do you have?
I have over 150.
Awesome.
So this one's
who's that?
Recognizable. This is a garter snake.
Yeah.
These are one of our guys. And I have to be that guy, and I have to correct you there, Brett. You said a bad word.
What?
You said poisonous.
Venomous.
Venomous, correct.
Sorry.
Yep. That's you want to see a reptile guy twitch, just be like poisonous, poisonous, poisonous. Yeah. It's venomous. So
no, I appreciate the correction.
So yeah, you would be familiar with these guys. Of course, the garter snakes. There's 3 different types of garter snakes found here in Alberta. Up north, I think it's a lot more of the red-sided, but I think these guys are up north as well. So being a farm kid, you know, you said you would collect the frogs and the snakes. We didn't have snakes nearby, but I would collect frogs and salamanders as a kid. But my
Yeah.
mom was very like, you're not having a snake in the house. So when you're bringing home like buckets full of tadpoles and you know, snakes and stuff, how was the family reacting to that?
Well, it was interesting because I was the only one. My brother wasn't interested in it. My dad, you know, was too busy chasing cows, and my grandparents. So the thing about it is like I kind of just kept it to myself. I'd have a 5-gallon pail, or I'd have an aquarium or whatever, and I would keep garter snakes, but I just keep them in the garage and stuff like that. And I just didn't feel right with them being there for, you know, a whole summer. So they'd last a weekend, and then I'd take them back down the creek and I'd let them go. But the garter snakes we had were black with the stripes.
Yeah.
Is that called the red-sided?
The red-sided or the wandering, or no, this is the wandering, the plains garter snake has yellow.
Okay. Yeah, it would be the stripes. Those are the ones that that I would see. I don't know if I've ever seen one like that with my own 2 eyes.
Now you have. And then you spent a lot of time in Nashville over the last few years. Nashville, surprisingly, Tennessee doesn't have a huge amount of reptiles. I was looking into it, and there's not. You're kind of in like a zone that's not super reptile-y.
No, not very much, and I don't know why that is. It's just maybe interesting geography or what have you. But there are water moccasins and cottonmouths as well. So that was one of the things that if there was, I would see those on, you know, from time to time. My manager had a beautiful house in Brentwood, Tennessee, with a creek behind. And one day I rolled up my jeans and I was walking in the creek and just enjoying life because I love the water and the stream of a creek and everything. And he's like, no, you better get out there. There's snakes. Now, I don't know anything about water moccasins or cottonmouths. I don't know if any of them are going to harm you. But yeah, I mean, I got out of there pretty quick. But do you know much about those species?
Yeah, the thing about venomous animals, especially snakes and stuff, the venom is meant to catch food. So like no snake is waking up being like, I'm going to bite.
I'm going to get a human. Yeah.
You know, so basically even, you know, the really famous, you know, scary ones like mambas or cobras and like the other side of the planet, or even rattlesnakes and stuff, they want to be left alone. Like we have the prairie rattlesnakes here in Alberta. Number of people who have died from a prairie rattlesnake bite is 0. Number of deaths, is 0. The number of bites in the last 25 years is like less than 20. And they're all over the place in parts of Lethbridge and like Dinosaur Provincial Park, Reading on Stone Park, Medicine Hat. But they want to be left alone. So, you know, when you're back down there, if you see a snake, especially if you don't necessarily know what type of species it is, you just walk in the opposite direction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. It's, I don't know, it's similar, you know, with a lot of other animals that truly just, you know, don't mess with them, because that is their only instinct is to bite in the sense of self-defense. There is no snake other than, I mean, I don't know, maybe a boa constrictor or an anaconda, if you're watching a Jennifer Lopez movie, that's going to go after a human. You know what I mean? So all that being said, I wouldn't say I have a fear for snakes. I love the picture. I've held a bunch of snakes and stuff like that. But yeah, I think they're very, very interesting creatures. What other reptiles do you have?
Well, one thing that is found in Tennessee is box turtles.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of those out in the wild? Or?
Well, I mean, a bunch of turtles. I don't know the species, but yeah, on the golf course, all over the place. Anytime you just go out into the country, like you're probably going to see a little turtle near a stream. So it's they're very, very interesting. I'm fascinated by them.
Are there signs down there like turtle crossings, like how we have like the warning about deer and elk signs here in Alberta?
Not that I've ever seen, no, but a lot of lakes that you'll go to and stuff like that. Those lakes will have a lot of signs that there are turtles, or please don't feed the turtles, or what have you. But yeah, I remember showing my kids when we were at Percy Priest Lake, there were some amazing turtles just swimming all around the docks. And that's all we did was just sit and watch them and stuff like that for hours.
One of the biggest threats to turtles is road mortality. So getting hit by cars. So, you know, that's one of those things definitely that you want to watch out for if you're out in Ontario or Quebec or down in, you know, the West is, you know, keep an eye out for them. And if you see a turtle on the road and it's safe to do so, pull over, I don't know if your bus would be particular quick at that.
Yeah.
And then help it across the road in the direction it was going, because they're going to their nesting grounds. So if you pick them up and put them back from where they were started from, they're just gonna have to cross again.
Have you had an opportunity, speaking of turtles, to go to Hawaii during whatever that time of year is, when when turtles are going to the sea, when baby turtles are doing that?
Not Hawaii. I have swam with like good sized turtles in Mexico in the Riviera Maya, and then Puerto Vallarta actually has programs where where you can release baby sea turtles. So they go up and down the beach and try and find the nest. They dig them up because unfortunately sea turtle eggs have a lot of threats. There's natural ones like coatimundis and raccoons, but also feral dogs and cats. And then for whatever reason, in some Asian and Latin American cultures, they're actually thought to be an aphrodisiac. So they're worth about $1 a piece in the black market, which doesn't sound like much, except sea turtle nests can have 100 to 200 eggs in it. So, someone who's poor and trying to feed their family, $100, $400 payout in a night is
a big one.
Is a big one. So they'll dig up the eggs and fence them off. They're protected from predators and people, and then they release them. And it was really, really amazing. I did it for my 30th birthday.
Awesome.
I turned 30 releasing baby sea turtles and released 250 of them. And it's tough to kind of process because like without the program that they do, 1 in 1,000 baby sea turtles survive. With the program, it's 1 in 500, which still sounds like bad odds, but they release 750,000 baby sea turtles every year. So 1,500 surviving instead of 500, instead of 750 is big. But we released 250, right? So who knows if any of them survive.
Now, here's another question. So what is the main? So once you've got your 500, like 1 in 500, so they're going out into the sea. Now it's just fish are going to get them and everything like that, because that's quite the journey. Once a turtle is bigger, I don't know if they have many predators once they're, if they've survived 30, 40 years. So what is the big issue once they're those little babies?
The biggest issue for sea turtles and turtles in general is all people. As a baby, yes, everything is a threat. Fish, octopus, squid, cuttlefish, birds. The ones that make it to adulthood, the natural predators are killer whales, great whites, bull sharks, and tiger sharks. That's it. So the main challenge is, again, is all people, and they've been protected since 1975. So 45 years later, they're still threatened and endangered, and it's mostly people. You're seeing that people are becoming more aware, but there's still challenges. So like straws being turned into paper from plastic, that kind of stemmed from a picture of a sea turtle with a straw wedged in its nose. I've seen sea turtles because they breathe air, right? So they'll get caught in nets that have been tossed overboard or washed overboard, or even like there was one that washed up in North Carolina and it was trapped in a beach chair, and they get stuck in that and they drown. Fishing wire can like get wrapped around their flippers and cut off the circulation. There's a sea turtle hospital in the Carolinas that I went to that had a sea turtle that was missing its front flipper. And trash. Like leatherback sea turtles, hawksbills, they eat jellyfish. So plastic bags, balloons, things like that, they end up in their stomach, and they can't digest them. So, and it's not just sea turtles. There's been whales that have washed ashore and they're dead, and they do a necropsy, and there's hundreds of pounds of garbage and plastic in them. So it's tough, and we're trying to get the word out more. There was a very sad situation about a month ago with that girl that was killed near Red Deer at school. She was stabbed.
Yeah.
And heartbreaking situation. And then they went and released like hundreds of balloons in the air in her memory. And it's so tough because how do you tell a bunch of people that are grieving, no, don't do that? But at the same time, it's 2021. We should have realized that that's not a good way to celebrate someone. There's so many other ways you can do it that don't negatively affect the environment. Because even with the case of balloons, you being a farm boy, if the balloons get in your field and then they're rolled up in the hay, and then the hay ends up being fed to your horses and cows, what happens when they swallow the balloons?
Well, yeah, I mean, on an environmental standpoint and the agricultural standpoint, I kind of get the, following of that process and that mindset. It's very interesting, the impact just in general, in every decision that you can make as a human being, it has an effect, a positive or a negative effect on the world around you, on the environment. All of these environmental challenges that we're facing are because of what we've done. So a lot of people have the comfort of a plastic bag. A lot of people have the comfort of a plastic straw. A lot of people have the comfort of balloons, just a part of party culture. Yet, over time, things change. I think of how crazy it was, the things that humans got away with in the 1950s and 60s. So I wonder what 50 years from now, what people are going to say about what we're doing in 2021. Like, I can't believe they got away with that. Like, we've evolved, we're so much smarter now. So I believe the planet is going to get more green because there's a lot of people truly thinking about the outcome as opposed to maybe the mindset that people had in the past. And because of social media, we talked about this in a previous interview, because the power of social media, it takes one photo, one story, one situation to go viral. And that can actually make a big impact to affect the psyche of the human spirit for someone in Calgary to make a big difference in a decision that you're making today that could affect what's going on in the Philippines. It could affect what's going on in Africa or Asia or any other place based on what you decide to do today or the measures that are made. So I respect your stance, and I applaud how aware you are and using your platform, I think, to spread that message.
I mean, I started this company based entirely on educating people, mostly about responsible pet ownership, but it's definitely evolved to include a really strong conservation message and talking about the impact that we have on wildlife, because every day animal species disappear, and that's really sad.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? It's interesting because I've got an outdoor television show that's about hunting and fishing and stuff like that. But we're working on a really, really good partnership with the Alberta Hunter Education Association. And in doing so, we can obviously practice the proper ways of conservation. And hunting has been around since the very beginning, but overhunting and obviously poaching and all those kinds of things have really, really wrecked our current ecosystem. So with all that being said, we all have to be conscious, and we have to take it into our own hands to do the right thing when we're faced with any single decision. So yeah, I applaud you to use your platform for this.
If you go to Africa, do you think you wanted to go on a safari tourism, or do you think you'd want to do hunting over there?
For me, I wouldn't want to do hunting at this point. And it's based on trust. Genuine trust. In Canada, a first world country, there are so many laws, rules, regulations in place where, quite frankly, if you were to poach an animal, you'd get more jail time than sometimes, committing a crime against a human being. So with that being said, you go to another country, and someone could say it's this, someone can say it's that, someone will say it's that or say it's this, and I just don't know if I trust it. So for me, I would love to go and see all of these animals, but I don't have any intention on pulling a trigger, at this time, unless I truly do a whole bunch of research and know that based on what I'm doing, and a lot of people will get you to, and again, I'm not fighting the system. This is only my own personal choice. We'll say that you doing this affects our economy in such a beautiful way that it will truly help our entire economic system by doing this. But I also know whether or not I pull the trigger and spend $10,000 to shoot this animal, if I spend $10,000, the same amount of money to just go see the animal, then I'm still spending $10,000 and I know it's still going to do good for the economy. However, I've got countless friends who have gone and, have had the time of their life, and they've got trophy animals and stuff like that. And that's their choice. For me, at this point, I'm going to Africa with my family. and I want to go see all of these animals. And at this point, I have a very, very firm stance on the animals that I choose to kill. And I like eating them, to be honest. I'm a meat eater. So I've learned some great bear recipes. I've learned some great deer recipes, obviously. Elk, fish, I mean, the list goes on. And I just don't know if I'd want to eat a water buffalo or a zebra or a gazelle at this time. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I'm not there.
After I did that swim with those crocodiles, I went for lunch and had crocodile for lunch.
So here's the thing. I'll eat it if it's prepared for me. I've eaten turtle. I ate turtle in the Caymans.
Yeah.
I did. I've eaten alligator in Texas and stuff like that. There's nothing I won't eat, but you know, it's about making a conscious choice, yeah, about sustainability.
Yeah. All right, so I cut that off there because we went quite a while. So I wanted to split up my chat with Brett over 2 videos. So the next one is going to be in a couple of days. We're going to let as a bonus video, not our usual Tuesday, just so it's all out there. Yeah, went beyond my expectations for how awesome that conversation was. I hope you enjoyed it and are looking forward to part 2, which again should be up maybe Thursday. Thanks, Brett, and thanks Warner Music for making that happen, and Laura at Warner Music, who is amazing. Yeah, and if you like this video, if you're catching it for the first time from learning about it through Brett's social media, please give us a subscribe. We have an interview with Jan Arden, or a chat with Jan Arden, I guess, not necessarily an interview. That's also on our page, as well as a few other ones that we've had with celebrities like Steve Whitmere, who's Kermit the Frog. He met one of my frogs, for example, and a whole bunch of cool information. You saw the video there of the crocodiles. We have that full video in our archives. We love teaching people about reptiles, and so we also don't just have reptiles. We have mammals, sloths, elephants, all sorts of fun stuff. So check out some of our past videos. Check out our Patreon as well. $3, $6, $10 a month, and you can support us and support the care for our animals. So looking forward to our next video in a couple of days. We'll see you then.